Prof, yes. Let's now hear from you. You certainly would have read the report. This is the LABIANCA company. It's supposed to be, one of the biggest importers in this country, controlling up to, 12 to 15% of imports that comes into this country. Huge. Frozen food, chicken, those things, and fries.
That's huge. These are the people that will not support local production, vested interest, right? Okay, so look at it this way. Of course, I also commend the special prosecutor. I'll start off this way. You could not address Ghana's revenue generation challenges without encountering what the special prosecutor is going through. You could not. The reason I say so is that the leakages in our revenue envelope, and we've talked about that across the various tax handles, from customs and all of that, are done, rehearsed, performed, also in connivance with revenue generation officials. That there's enough literature to support that. So I'm not surprised that SEPS officials were mentioned and all, because to complete this transaction, it will go beyond just the company doing the imports. Okay, it would involve certain key people in that value chain. Some of the questions I wanted to ask probably have been answered. Is this woman a card-bearing member of the MPP?
I think that's also a question not in doubt. In fact, people seem to know exactly how much she contributed in funding the campaign. But why should that be a problem? There are people in the party who are in government who are doing their business. We shouldn't say they have used fraudulent means simply because, shouldn't their companies also survive?
I don't have a problem. There are types of people who support political parties. Beyond a certain point, others become political investors who invest. And therefore, when their party wins, they will be looking at using that kind of leverage to get into positions that can further their business or their interest, or as a way of also earning return on their political investment, essentially trying to maximize their return on that investment. And that certainly will conflict with the objective and the principle of the state. So look at it this way. Does the organization where she's a board member, does it have anything to do with her line of business? How was she chosen for that particular board role? So you are looking at all this, whether these steps are being taken essentially to further her or to aid her maximization of political investment. If we can check all these boxes, then we should not really be casting doubts to this report because if we continue like this,
that is suspicion, isn't it?
How many Ghanaians will be in such a position, will have such opportunity and the privilege to do so and all of that? And all of these things lend to what we call elite capture, right? Elite capture, which is beyond just political capture. Political capture, you find that across top chiefs, top religious leaders, top civil servants, top politicians at that level, right? And they speak a common language, right? It's more about protecting their interests. It's more about maximizing their interest and all of that.
Top journalists, top lecturers.
Across various occupational groups, right? And all of that. So, but I think the critical thing we need to look at, for which the special prosecutor needs support in times like this, is to recognize that there are vested interests in this economy, that the leakages in our revenue envelope and all of that actually benefit individuals, benefit institutions. And therefore, if we have to address that and put Ghana first, that would mean that those who are performing their functions will certainly have to step on the toes of certain powerful people and all of that. We need to support them. This is the time that the country must rally together. We've said this before, that part of why projections from Ghana Revenue Authority or even from Ministry of Finance in the budget, we don't get to achieve that. I also explained through many of these exemptions, many of these discounts and all of that that probably are difficult to explain and all of that. And we know that there are some people at the port, you dare not touch their containers and all of that, right? So if we continue like this, there will be no future for this country. There will only be a future for political parties and their investors and all of that. So I think we need to commend the special prosecutor, and then we need to broaden that also. This is where I come from. I believe that before this report was issued, the Office of the Special Prosecutor certainly knew how powerful this person is, that there will be a response in one way or the other. So I want to believe that they would have done the basic checks here and there. Probably it's not everything they will put out there. There will be some underlining supporting documents that probably they are leveraging on to address this issue. But let's just bear in mind that for Ghana to develop, for it to benefit all of us, we must be prepared to sacrifice some of this vested interest. We must be prepared to deal with all of this. Other than that, we are not going anywhere. We are not going, because the current system, whilst it affects negatively majority of Ghanaians, there are those who profit and benefit from this. And they would want to make sure that the status quo actually remains.
All right.